As things were opening up after 2022, I was itching for a trip out of town and I heard that Virgin Voyages was coming to Australia. And when the Atlantis group announced a 4-night charter, I found myself curiously piqued to sail with them, so I reached out to some friends and here we are. In recent years, Virgin Airlines Australia had been through, let's say, financial adjustments and quite nearly exited the Australian market, which left me feeling nervous about following their loyalty program. Moreover, I must admit I had a bit of a bad experience years ago after my last Virgin flight from Melbourne to Sydney when I booked a last minute ticket and I saw some of the worst behaviors. The flight attendants spent nearly the entire flight flirting with a group of men on a boys' trip. They were completely oblivious to the rest of us passengers, and I couldn't even get a wine. The Resilient Lady launched in 2022 and had a season base in Australia. Unlike traditional cruise lines, Virgin Voyages caters only to adults seeking luxury and a hip and stylish design. One point of difference is that you get access to all of the 20 dining options advertised, and they're all themed by cultures or experience. Ahoy there, my sensational sailors! I hope you're doing magnificently. Thank you for checking out Red Light, Green Light reviews. It's Ryan here with another cruise review, and this time we are setting sail on Virgin Voyages Resilient Lady, sailing from Melbourne to Sydney. As always, with my stays or trips, they're incognito so as not to influence the experience during my stay or cruise. 3 things that drew me to the Virgin Voyages Resilient Lady. Number 1. The cruise line is designed for adults, so no kiddie spaces, with everything designed for the grown-ups. Number 2. It's advertised to have 20 themed dining venues, of which really about 6 have table service. And number 3, it's an Atlantis charter, and for the first time, sailing out of Australia, departing from Melbourne. So, will it get the red light or the green light? Stay tuned for the verdict. Come with me and let's check it out as I take you through the arrival, the room, the food, and amenities encountered during my cruise. While we're at it, remember to like and subscribe below. Now, the group of us friends traveling got different boarding times, and so we all headed 4 separate embarkations. Getting to Station Pier was a breeze, with the friendly and efficient staff whisking us along hurriedly but with a smile. While we weren't rock stars, we were directed to check in there anyway, secretly hoping for an upgrade, but unfortunately, we didn't get one. While I am not an expert on cruise ships or hotels, I've stayed in a couple of hundred of hotels over the years. However, I've only been on 4 cruise ships, and from most photos and videos, it seems that most cruise ships have a multi-level atrium or grand mall that welcomes passengers upon boarding. In the case of the Resilient Lady, entering on Deck 6 is a much more intimate experience. It's like walking into the foyer of a nightclub with a much more slinky, loungy ambience, avoiding those jaw-dropping scale elements. Adjacent to the foyer is High Street, a collection of shops which, to me, looks a little bit sad, and curiously on this sailing, they featured middle-aged women wear for an Atlantis charter. I guess they must have watched The Birdcage from 1993. I booked a limited view sea terrace cabin and found it fun and modern. with a seaside bungalow aesthetic. I tend to choose a twin when not traveling solo, as there's nothing worse than finding ourselves squashed into the equivalent of a double or queen bed. Now, you don't initially realize it, but these cabins are a little narrower by almost half a meter than on other cruise lines that I've been on. The L-shaped layout of the single beds has the feel of a student's dorm room. You also get a minibar fridge that's empty, a couple of carafes of water are refilled daily, and on request, and there are a couple of cups, and that's just about it. The wedge-shaped desk had a round stool for anyone dressing up. I guess ought to do some work, and the daily planner set on a tray with some magazines. If you didn't want to use the wall switches, room lighting, TV, and audio controls were controllable via a tablet-style remote. There were motorized curtains, and that was a nice tech-forward touch. Although some of these techie items seem a little bit gimmicky and tacky. I didn't mind the semi-open wardrobe which swapped doors for a curtain and rod, and some nautical touches like stripes and porthole circles and ship bulkhead-style wall lights. Storage-wise, you do get a few drawers and baskets, ideal for your shoes and other footwear, and there are some other cubbies and some coat hooks. Some of this styling looks straight out of an IKEA catalog. There was adequate counter space in the ensuite, but very little storage shelves or drawers, and the double shower was certainly welcome, offering a rainfall shower head and a shower wand. It's cute that they had some cosmetic rags face cloth in the ensuite. Storage was compact but adequate for a 4-night cruise, and the balcony provided a great space to enjoy the ocean views from your Brazilian-style hammock for slinging back in. The majority of the cabin was nice and clean, but I wouldn't say spotless. It's kind of a little like staying at a 3-star basic traveler's hotel. The pool deck is well designed, but it had limited wow factor. Its only real feature is a single pool that isn't too wide or large, with the spa bath located around the back of the bar. This pool, though, was ideal for those afternoon tea dances. The gym was well equipped, offering a good mix of machines and group fitness options. Running alongside the pool deck offered the poses and voyeurs equal dopamine kicks. I see you. The retail zone finally brought out the appropriate merchandise for the charter on day 3, but there was really not a lot to browse from. Where Virgin Voyages wins is in the fact that bar prices are standardized to match landside bars, and the restaurants are all included with additional costs for some premium dishes. So here's a quick rundown of each venue we dined at to help you sort out the hits from the nas. Let's start with the cafeteria. Buffet. Well, actually, that's called the galley. But what's in the name? That which we call the rose. By any other name would smell less sweet. I wonder if Virgin Voyages knows that Quick Ease is the name of some indigestion tablets. The galley is meant to break away from the standardized traditional buffet, instead offering made-to-order dishes. But there were only a few stations that were as such, with specialized options only open at certain times. The rest of it was still pretty much a buffet without the self-serve part for most of it, with basic options pre-packaged. At the entryways, you get wraps, salads, and sandwiches at Quick Ease. And further in, there are counters for sushi, burgers, ramen, nachos, paninis, and a patisserie of French-style desserts. Test Kitchen is the onboard concept kitchen that is quite interesting for discovering the flavors, or kind of trying to locate the occasional lack of flavors in some of these visually intriguing food that looks like some other object. Overall, though, it was both fun but occasionally miss hitting the mark on some courses. The scallops and prosciutto, the venison and the blue cheese courses were my favorites. The wake is perched at the rear of the ship, over 2 levels, and the wake felt like a high-end state joint with a classy vibe, and even descending down a circular stairs just for lunch made it feel like it was designed for you to make an entrance. It was one of my favorite restaurants on the ship, with the clam chowder, filet mignon, and panna cotta the highlights. Gun Bay is a fabulous concept that offers delicious Korean barbecue in a lively atmosphere. You get matched with other diners and you sit around a circular Korean barbecue, and your server grills and serves multiple courses. Everyone was delicious, and the fun doesn't stop until everyone has played the drinking game, exclaiming Gunbei. At the end, I certainly felt incredibly satiated and entertained, and it is definitely not a stretch calling this one of my favorite restaurants on the Resilient Lady. Extra Virgin is the Italian restaurant, and it was by far my favorite for its food. It also serves pasta with freshness you can actually taste. While the decor is basic and the menu is simple, the dishes are rich and complex. And I definitely recommend the squid ink pasta dish. Let me see if I can get it right. The gemelli al nero seafood pasta, a dish I still to this day crave for. Tucked away on the lowest guest deck on the ship is Razzle Dazzle. For some reason, I picture Hugh Grant saying this with the cheesiest delivery. And this is somewhat an adequate choice for a brunch, with a primarily vegetarian menu that presents a little bit more razzle than dazzle. This restaurant also serves brunch on the disembarkation day, and on that occasion, I opted for the granola and one of the two meat dishes, which is a chicken sandwich and a fairly underwhelming piece of fried chicken. There are numerous other venues with over the counter options, each one with a specialty twist. This pizza place, for whatever reason, I kept walking past this place and not taking much notice of it until one of my party ordered a stack of pizzas to his room. When I finally went there, I found a diner style joint that extended to the deck with daybeds and a really great relaxed vibe. The house-made bases are fresh and the ingredients are wonderful and delicious. And here's a hot tip: you can actually customize some of the pizzas, and I recommend adding truffle to the chicken and basil pesto pizza for that extra umami. Maybe it's because the ice cream counter next to it always caught my eye. And also, maybe it's because there's no large atrium that invites wandering around. I must say, Deck 7 seems to be missed by other sailors too on this cruise. There's little visual clues visible from Deck 6. There's activity happening on the deck above, unless you're heading to a show or a dance. When it comes to evening activities, there's the Red Room, which offers theater-style viewing with seats that retracts to form a large open floor. The opening evenings also had stand-up shows by the wonderful corny act.
Don't worry, I'm just a person who doesn't necessarily fit into the gender binary, who dresses like a girl, has a self-serving cup. I was in the Masked Singer last year, and I dressed as a giant cow. A cowgirl. Not a cowboy that's a girl. A cow that's a cowboy that's a girl.
And later in the voyage, various dance parties. And there's also another nightclub called The Manor that hosted other stand-up shows. This cruise had 2 Australian ports of call on the itinerary: Burnie, Tasmania, and Newcastle, New South Wales. Rather obscure choices for exploration, and the shore excursions were not very enticing. Now, due to a storm brewing off the New South Wales coast, Newcastle was cancelled, and we floated off the coast with poolside parties and a chance to wander around the ship. Some additional activities includes a basketball court, a running track, an outdoor gym, a casino, and even this hidden little games arcade. Now for some opportunities. There were many areas which I did not get to experience, such as the Redemption Spa. I do feel like several areas seem to have a single way in and out, which creates dead ends rather than having areas that flow between decks. And as they say, out of sight, out of mind, which is a shame. Now, the biggest disappointment would be the bidding, where the mattress wasn't a sprung mattress that you might expect, and rather was made of a dense foam, kind of like that of a backpacker's. And I felt like I was sleeping on someone's couch. Moreover, a lack of a proper doona or comforter, and in its place, a damask cover that was like a knitted picnic rug didn't look or feel luxurious. Give me my 1,000 thread count plus Egyptian cotton sheets, please. So, for the final verdict, I give the Virgin Voyages Resilient Lady the green light. It was really an enjoyable cruise, but given the novel approach to dining, I don't know how long that novelty will last for a repeat cruise. Now, between sister ships, the restaurants are pretty much the same. And it would be good if there actually are some different experiences that are exclusive to certain ships. I must say, a 4-night cruise on a charter such as the Atlantis is far too short, with all the activities on offer when you also want to experience the restaurants and other venues. It would have been great to check out the dock, for example, and I didn't get to check out Pink Agave, the Mexican restaurant, and I also had to miss a few main shows. Now here's a hot tip. The restaurant dining can take quite a while from start to finish, especially with the various courses, and sometimes you end up missing shows, which is a pity as my tummy will always take precedence. Also, do pre-book your restaurants if you desire to try them all, and you're only able to pre-book each one once. After this is rock up and stand by. I hope you have enjoyed this review. This is another red light, green light cruise review. Subscribe below so you don't miss out on any updates. Comment below too, because I want to know what your own experience was or what your thoughts are of this review. And who knows, your comment might even make it into our next video. And also, if you want a shout out, please tell us which hotel, cruise, or airline you would like us to review next. Happy travels, fellow adventurers, and remember, tread lightly, especially when you're visiting another country.